Hello and welcome
Absolutely.
to our webinar titled Ecommerce Marketing Masterclass. I am Sweta Saravanan from Vajro and I'll be your moderator for the session. Before we quickly get started, allow me to let you know that this webinar is recorded, and if you've already registered for the webinar, you'll receive a recording of this session. We would love to hear from you. Feel free to use the chat box anytime during the session. The last 15 minutes of the session is reserved for Q&A. We have Faisal here with us today. Hello, Faisal.
Hi. A pleasure being here. Thank you for inviting.
We are very glad to have you here with us, Faisal. So Faisal is a co-founder of Brandslane, who's been helping a lot of interesting brands to scale really fast through rapid customer acquisition. He's going to be telling us, giving us a lot of marketing strategies, talking about a lot of challenges companies face when they scale, and a lot of stuff about ads and a lot of focus pointers that you need to follow in 2022. So I'm now handing over the session to Faisal. Please.
Absolutely. It's lovely to be here, guys. Thank you for taking all the time this late. And I would love to give you guys first of all a brief intro about my work, whatever I have done, and then we are going to start off. So the gist of this entire session is going to be just for you e-commerce founders like yourself, how in a turbulent time like 2022, you guys can scale up your business and actually do it profitably and in a more sustainable manner. Right. So I'm going to be sharing my screen. I have developed a small presentation just for you guys. It's a little bit long, but I'm going to look at a lot of topics all across e-commerce. So it's going to be a little bit in depth, and I hope you guys enjoy that. So just let me share the screen. Voila. Cool. So officially starting off the e-commerce masterclass. So first of all, I'm going to give you guys, before I even introduce myself, what is it that you guys are going to be getting after having this session with me, right? What this session will help you achieve. So first of all, you are going to have a better direction of how to go about marketing for your e-commerce brand or your clients. Whichever, if you have an agency, you have e-commerce clients, if you have an e-commerce brand, how to go about it in a more better way. What is the better direction? Because we are doing it for in an every month 20 plus brands. How are we doing it in such a robust manner that it's generating our clients' results as well? I'm going to give you an in-depth idea of that, right? A broad roadmap to scalability. So the scalability is very subjective. It depends on a lot of factors, but I'm going to give you the best strategies and the best broad concepts that you need to keep in mind while doing so. Third one would be, what should be a realistic expectation when you are starting off your e-commerce brand, or even if you are running your e-commerce brand, what should be a realistic expectation in a time like 2022, right? Is a 10x return on advertising spend still possible? And if so, how, right? What are the kind of numbers that you can expect when you are starting your e-commerce brand? So you are going to leave with more realistic expectation of the hard work that is required and the results that you can get, right? This session is going to enlighten you about better hiring standards. I think this is the most important part for you as a founder. Better hiring standards. What metrics you should be looking at when you are hiring for your e-commerce marketing, right? When you are hiring marketing managers or creative directors, what should you be looking at, right? And last, but I believe the most important, a refined ad creative framework. This is going to be very in-depth, but how do we refine our clients' ad creative framework, right? If they are advertising at level A, how do we make them reach level B, which is an elevated? How do we define their ad creatives, their brand tone, everything? So this is what you are going to be getting a better idea of, and a lot many things as well. So yeah, let's see. So I'm going to start off with something a little bit about me, right? So as Shweta has very graciously told you, my name is Faisal and I'm the co-founder of Brandslane. My team helps D2C e-commerce brands like yours scale up their customer acquisition with paid acquisition funnels and paid marketing, right? Essentially help having better outlook on Facebook advertising, Google, Snapchat, TikTok, whatever platforms are relevant, and having a better idea on customer acquisition, right? And in the past 2 years, we have had our clients generate over $15.5 million in overall client revenue. And that is what Brandslane helps our clients achieve. We make them better. We make them scale faster. We make them scale more profitably, right? In that time period, we have worked with 70 plus brands in 15 plus industries. So that's a good enough run rate for us, right? So that's a little bit about me. And yeah, that's more or less it. So I'm going to go a little bit deeper into this. Just a sec. This was a little video that my team made about the client wins that we had and the kind of results that we look at on a day-to-day basis. Just a sec. So, first topic is e-commerce in 2022. So this is a chart that I observed way back in 2020 itself when the pandemic was starting off. But I found it again. This is something which was researched by Bank of America in New York, in the first quarter of the COVID year, and they realized that in that time period there was a 10-year jump in the e-commerce speed. As you can see, the speed at which the graph grew when the pandemic started off was humongous. And right after that, and I myself was starting off Brandslane very afresh at that time itself, and we saw a slew of bigger e-commerce brands come up in that time period. A huge number of e-commerce brands started off, right? So the market itself 10xed in that time zone. So it is nevertheless very, very clearly the best time to be into e-commerce. So if you are starting off and having any kind of doubts, or if you are in the middle of your journey and still having not able to figure out a lot of stuff, have faith, because the market is right there, because the growth is right there, right? So I'm going to bust a little, I'm going to start off with some myth busting, because I think that it's very important for you to have that self-affirmation that you can do it if you are stuck in the journey, or if you're wanting to start off, right? And if you are having doubts about a certain few things that you have heard about the e-commerce field, having worked with so many founders, I have found some commonalities that people have as some myths that they are always there in founders, right, before they start off or during their journey, which makes them slow down. So I don't want that for you. So the first myth that I want to bust is that you need a lot of capital and a solid team to start off an e-commerce business. So that's not true. This is by far one of the least capital intensive businesses that you can have. Yeah, it's important to have a cash flow. So you must be making some kind of money. So don't leave your job if you are in the 9 to 5 phase, or don't just stop your business and to jump into e-commerce. Make sure that whatever cash flow you have, you invest a good chunk of it into the e-commerce field and try to generate a respectable break-even return on advertising spend with your advertising process. It's also a huge team is not required, at least not in the initial setup. Lower CPMs have made the game easier post-COVID. So post-COVID, there was a couple of months then the CPMs were dirt cheap, right? But the problem is that because of that, a lot of people jumped into the game and CPM started rising up. So even though the CPM was lower initially and now they are back to all-time highs, the competition in e-commerce has become immense, with new D2C e-commerce brands rising up that easily because there is almost zero barrier of entry, right? People can start off very easily. So there's a huge competition in this field. You just need to launch a couple of Facebook ads and you will get sales, right? This is a huge myth, which was true way back in 2016, 2017, even 2018. I remember when I started off my advertising, I was lucky that it was in the pre-iOS 14 update phase or the pre-COVID phase. When I launched my first ad, I got a sale, right? It was very motivating back then, but now you have to go deeper into things. You have to get the right creatives. You have to optimize your copy. You have to optimize your landing page. There are a lot of factors that you need to look at rather than just launching an ad and getting sales, right? So be very understanding of the market sentiment when you are launching your advertising. You can't get profitable quickly and have to wait months to make a single dime. So this is something which is a lie. It is easy to get profitable quickly if you do it well. If your team is sorted, if your cash flow is sorted, and if your advertising is right, it is possible to get profitable quick. Now, this is something which a lot of agencies have, just for their own gain, just to cover their own inadequacies, have spread out in the market that it's difficult to get break even in the first few months because they are not doing a good job. Anyhow, right? So a lot of people, when they start off their advertising, they have this preconceived notion that it takes like 2 to 3 years to make a profit in e-commerce, which is not true. It can be done fairly quickly. The last one would be anything can be sold online. So this is partially true. Anything can be sold online, but everything can be sold online profitably. So you need to make sure that the marketing funnel that you are using, the ad funnel, is perfect, right? Even if you are selling something, let's say a $20 product, there needs to be upsell to make sure that you are generating profit, because there is not a lot of profit you can generate for a $20 product, right? Considering that the CPMs are high and the cost of acquisitions are increasing year on year, right? So anything can be sold online. And this is the reason a lot of people jump into it without proper research. But you have to make sure that whatever you sell online is profitable. So you have to research a little bit on the funnel that's going to make it profitable. So this is a very important part, how to structure your advertising strategy. So a lot of people, when they start off, they just launch ads not knowing what to do, what the funnel is going to look like, what the marketing, what the customer flow is essentially is going to look like. So I'm just going to break it down for you in a very clear and a concise way. It is not at all complicated. I know it looks a little bit but complex, but there are a lot more elements to it, but I have kept it very simple, right? So just follow my flow here, and this is what an ideal marketing funnel is always going to look like, irrespective of industry, irrespective of time. This was the same marketing funnel that was happening in early 1900s as well, when people used to buy stuff from newspapers and mail order, right? This was the same marketing funnel. It's just that now we have a lot more data pointers. So it starts off here. Cold customer, when the person has no idea about your brand, they look at your ad, right? There are two kinds of advertising. One is impulse driven ads, one is intent driven. So impulse driven is anything which you look at and you want to buy. Facebook advertising and Snapchat, TikTok ads, they generate a feeling of a FOMO, I would say, right, in you. That's what an impulse is. That's what most of Facebook ads are, right? They generate an impulse in you to purchase. Intent is something which you already have a requirement for that, and you search for it, and then you go for it. And as you can see, search would include Google, Bing ads. Majority of intent-driven ads are Google ads, right? This has a much more higher probable chance of conversion, right? But then comparatively higher CPMs as well. Now, impulse-driven ads has a much more higher volume, which is getting driven on your website, because a lot more people can be made to, impulsively look at your brand, right? So in any case, the cold customer looks at your ad, either a Google ad or a Facebook ad, and they get to the website, right? They get to the website, and then there are two things which can be done. Like, they could either take no action, right? They take no action at all on the website, or they take some kind of action, right? So we are going to go here. They took no action. They just went to the website. They checked out the website. They did not take any action. They just left it, right? Now, this is called the middle of the funnel. And this person is a warm customer. They are not at all. They are not cold anymore, but they are also not hot, right? They are just knowing that the brand exists, and that's it, right? People who follow you on your social media, people who have just visited your website, which is essentially your website traffic, who have maybe subscribed to a free emailer, stuff like that, right? That's a person who knows about the brand, that it exists, but they have not checked out any of the product. Now, you can run retargeting ads to this audience and get them back onto the website, right? Or you can just send, if they have subscribed to your email, you can get them back into the funnel through your email marketing strategies. Aman has asked if we will get in the PPT. Yes, absolutely. You will be getting the PPT after this session, but if you want to take any kind of notes, you can, right? Just a second. Yeah. So even if the person takes no action, the retargeting ad is going to have the intent of getting them back into the funnel. Suppose the person took some kind of action, right? The person who came here, they took an action. And the kind of actions are in an e-commerce funnel. These are the kind of actions you take. You view a product, which is called view content in our language, right? The next thing is that when the person selects, they check up on a product, they go forward and add it to cart, right? So that's an APC, an add to cart. As you can see, the color is getting brighter and redder. The more towards the purchase is going, it's getting hotter, right? So they add to cart, and then they go forward. They go to the checkout page, right? And then finally, they make a purchase. And on every part of this funnel, you will see there is a drop off. Maybe 100 people checked out the product, only 30 people added to cart. So there was a drop off of 70 people, right? Who did not buy the product. Now it's our job to run retargeting ads to get these people back into the funnel. So these people did not buy. Our job is to get these people to back into the funnel through retargeting ads and emails, right? Same goes for people who added to cart and left the website. Our job is to run retargeting ads and get these people back into the funnel. People who checked out, who went to the initiate checkout page where you have to fill the details, but they did not fill any kind of details, and they just left the website. it's our responsibility to run a ad, get them back into the funnel. And people who have purchased from the brand, right? People who finally made the order, they are, they are retargeted by a post-purchase ad or post-purchase email, right? So this is called the bottom of the funnel. As you can see, as soon as the person makes any kind of action on the website, they check out a product, they add it to cart, they go to initiate checkout, they abandon the cart, and they purchase. This is called the bottom of the funnel ad, right? So as you can see, it's very robust. It's self-sustaining. If you keep getting newer customers, more and more people are going to be getting into each and every part of the funnel. More people are going to take no action. They'll be retargeted and gotten back to the funnel. Some of them will check out a product, leave, they'll be gotten back in the funnel. It's going to go on. It's self-sustaining, right? So this is what it looks like. All you have to do is focus on getting more people at a lesser cost on the and a more profitable, or at least a break even on the top of the funnel, which is a cold customer who has no idea about the brand, and make sure that your retargetings are profitable. Your retargeting ads for ad where you are retargeting people who have added to cart or people who have just checked out the product. Whenever you are retargeting them, you have to make sure that those ads are profitable, right? That's it. That's as simple as it can be from an advertising perspective. Right, there are a lot many nitty-gritties to it from a creative standpoint, from a funnel messaging standpoint. That would be out of scope of the entire session. But yeah, keeping it straight and clear, this is it, the entirety of advertising, right? Yes, so I'll move forward. Facebook ads deep dive. So I think this is going to take most out of me. So before I go here, any of you have any questions, you guys can put it on the chat. Any questions you guys have? Cool. So I'll be going forward there. What is your company's website? So you can check us out on brandslane.co. Yeah, right now I think my website is going through a little bit of a repair, some issue from ClickFunnels side. But yeah, you can DM me on my LinkedIn. Rough idea for budget allocation according to stages of the funnel. So ideally, I'll just take this. So this is a good question. Cold customers are top of the funnel. 70% of the budget should go there. The rest of 30% can be divided. 15% on middle of the funnel, 15% on bottom of the funnel, right? You can attribute like the last 10% on bottom of the funnel and just 5% on post purchase as well, depending if you want to run a post purchase sequence. How do you address different groups with different ads? I think I can take that later on because it's a longer question. Is retargeting creatives same in each step? No, retargeting creatives can be made different. It depends on your intent, but yeah, I usually make sure that on every part of the funnel, the person who adds to cart sees a different ad as compared to a person who has just added the product on their or just checked out the product, right? Value on offer that I remember a time when we were running an offer just for people who have added to cart and checked out the product, right? So if a person have added to cart, they are going to and did not go forward, they are going to see a 50% off discount just to make them move forward, right? Something like that. How do you address different groups with different ads? So just a sec. What's the name? Peter, my bad. Yeah. So Peter, essentially the intent is here. I believe the question is how are you able to address or retarget these people, right? That's the question that I believe that you are asking. So we have something called a pixel on the website, which essentially brings out the data on how many people have added to cart, how many people have checked out the product, how many people have just viewed the product, right? And that you can make audiences out of that, and you can retarget with whatever ad you want. I hope that was the question. But yeah, I'll be going deeper into the website, onto the Facebook ads part, right? Cool. Right, just let me. Right. So I'm going to start off with the post iOS world and what you need to focus upon as a person who is running an e-commerce brand. After the iOS updates came out in April of 2021, Apple really screwed us advertisers by having their privacy policies screw up the entire ecosystem of Facebook. And there's a lot of problems that Facebook ads has been experiencing since the last 1 to 1.5 years. Right, 2021 changed the name of the game of Facebook advertising. There's no more, there was a time when people just used to run ads and get results, but that is no more the case anymore. Now you actually need to be good at marketing to make that money online, right? It's not easy anymore because of I would say what Apple did. So that being said, there are opportunities in every kind of problems, right? So the kind of problems you are going to be facing roughly is lack of attribution leading to poor decision making. So on the ads, last 1 to 1.5 years, we have not been able to see the clear data on ads manager. If there are like 100 sales, we are seeing just 50, right? So because of that, you can take the right decisions, right? On what needs to be done. If there are the number of sales are missing out, obviously your decision is going to be impaired, right? Second is a depowered pixel. The pixel that we use for retargeting customers and getting people back to the funnel, that has lost its sheen, right? It has lost its targeting powers, I would say, because of the privacy policy that Apple has incurred upon the entire ecosystem of Apple. And because this is a growing issue, a lot of other businesses are also wanting to restrict the privacy and giving Facebook all their data. So the pixel is getting depowered day by day, right? So that is another issue. The third one is audience segmentation. The audience segments are getting removed or losing performance. So I remember a time when I used to target for a sustainable product, I used to target the interest, an audience interest named sustainability. That's no longer there, right? And now a sustainable product can only run on that specific interest up to a certain degree, right? So without it, my ads actually started tanking, I remember. And we were like, this Facebook screwed us. And this was just one of the audience segment that Facebook removed. It removed a lot of audience segments, right? And even the ones which were there, which are still operational, they are losing performance, right? If I remember for a couple product, a couple's product, I used to target people who have just gotten married, right? I used to get like 5 to 8x return on ad spend on that. I hardly get from time to time for the same brands, for the same product, I hardly get 2x return on ad spend on the specific audience segment now. The audience targeting has been losing its accuracy as well. That the kind of people that we could target, we are not able to do. So what to do now? In a time like this, if you cannot target people correctly, how are we going to be able to do that? Right? So, okay, so there's a question that please elaborate the attributions part correctly. So the attribution part, if I go deeper into it, essentially, if you are, there was a time when you could see the right sales on your ads manager. When you used to look at an ads manager, if you got 10 sales from an ad, you are going to say, the ad manager will say that this ad got you 10 sales. Now, the thing is that because of the iOS update, there's a lot of data mismanagement which is happening, and there's a lot of data loss which is happening between the servers, right? And because of which, even if you have actually generated 10 sales, it is not going to show the actual amount for you, because if the sale happens through an iOS product, which happens to be the case a lot of time, iOS is not letting Facebook transfer that data forward, because of which that sale number is actually getting dropped. So if let's say just keeping it very crude, if out of the 10, 7 people purchase from an iOS, it's not going to say, it's going to remove 7, it's just going to say 3, right? It's going to do the calculation on that as well. So you will see a lower, even if the ad is profitable, you won't be able to see the actual numbers. You see that after spending this much amount, you only made 3 sales, right? And because of which you are going to say that the ad is unprofitable and shut it, even though it was working well. So this is what is happening if you look at just the ads manager to make your decisions, right? So I hope that is clear. But moving forward, the solution to all of these, as I said, what to do, what are the solutions to all of these problems? So number one is get a solid offer and a killer creative. Now, this is a very vague statement. What is a solid offer and what is a killer creative, right? So I'll just give you an example. So this is a brand that we have been working with for the last 1.5 years, Mama, right? They came on Shark Tank as well, right? So now what has happened is during Valentine's Day, there was the brand came up with an offer that as you can see, it's written right here as well. But we were targeting people who are in relationships, and we showed them the ad which said that buy this matching underwear product, and you can get a chance to win an all expenses paid trip to any romantic getaway in India. Right now, that's a solid offer which can be scaled. Right, that itself led to a 600% increase in traffic and a humongous 200% increase in monthly revenue. Right, and that number itself was pretty huge. And why did that happen? Because the offer was solid. It stood out of the hundreds of Valentine's Day 10-15% off. This offer stood out, and the creatives were solid as well. They were targeting and they were talking to the customer psyche. They were talking to couples, and this is what you want. And it was essentially, if you buy 1,000 rupees underwear pair, you get a chance to win an all nation trip. Right, that was what the core offer was. Right, and it worked like a charm, and we were able to generate a good amount of revenue in that month. And it was majorly because of this offer itself. Right, that is what having a solid offer or an offering is all about. Right, and having killer creatives, the creative needs to speak to customers. So now, when you cannot target everyone, you have to make sure that your creative is doing more of the most of the communication. Right, if you cannot target the right people, you have to make sure that you are calling out the problems, you are bringing out all the aspects of your brand on your ad creative itself. I'm going to do a very in-depth session on ad creatives as well as we move forward in this session, but just to make sure, and a solid offer is what is much more important now. Using third-party analytical tools. So as someone already pointed it out in the chat itself, the triple whale is something that people have been talking about. Hyros, AnyTrack, Magix, and Google Analytics itself. But these are third-party analytical tools, which are very much important for getting a better idea of what is going on. So none of these tools does all of the work, but all of these tools do some of the work. Right? It's better than hitting in the dark. You get a sense, or you get an idea of what's happening on the ads front. Right? So that is very much important. I personally have been a huge fan of Triple Whale and AnyTrack, and I would recommend it to any of you who have been using it. If you guys want to use a third-party analytical tool for your brand or your clients, this is what you should use. And this is something that we do internally, because a lot of things are not visible on these on the ads manager. We'll keep an effective ROAS calculation sheet. For every client, we have an effective ROAS calculation sheet where we are looking at one major key metric, which is a blended return on advertising spend. Basically, how much is the brand making and how much are we spending? Suppose I'm spending every day $1,000, and the client says that I want to always make, on an average, including organic sales, ads, everything, I want to make $5,000 every single day, and I'm willing to spend $1,000 for it. So that means that they are willing to have a blended return on ad spend of 5x, right? Since a lot of these numbers cannot be calculated at times because of the analytical problem which we are facing, we keep the blended ROAS as the key metric that we are looking at. That at any time of the month, we have to make sure that 5x return on ad spend, blended return on ad spend, is our numbers are above that, right? So this is something which really helps you keep a track of things. I'll give you a sheet as well. By the end of the session, I'll also go through an analytics sheet while the Q&A is on, right, about how we do that. Focus on creatives and test out broad targeting. So since, as I said, creatives is playing a much more important role now, right? What we used to do way back in the day was when you used to run any kind of ad, you used to narrow down targeting. Now, let's say I'm targeting people who are in their early 20s, right? I used to target people from 18 to 30, and that was it. Now, the thing is that now, because of CPMs increasing, a lot of stuff which used to work, like narrowing down audience and going deeper into the audience segment, it just increases the CPMs and lowers your chance of getting the right customer. So if you cannot narrow the audience, narrow the creative. So on the creative itself, put out a copy which just talks to the customer. It doesn't talk to me or you, it talks to the right customer. So if I am the customer and you can't broaden the audience, you talk to me directly, right? You use the right words, you use the right copy, so that the ad gets the customer's attention. When narrowing doesn't work on the audience front, narrow down on the creatives front, right? Your creative have to speak to the customer, a target customer. That is what has worked. So broad targeting is something which just reduces your CPM. Broad is basically you don't put any kind of audiences, and it has stopped. It has worked for us for the last 1.5 years. If you don't put any kind of audience, you just let the ad run on let it run without any kind of targeting, and the right customer is going to start coming in because of the creative that you are running, because it is so relevant to the audience that they are just going to click on it and they are going to get it. So this works when the creative is right, and this is a advice I would like you to test out on your brand. And lastly, having a multi-channel approach. So when we started off our agency, we were focused heavily on Facebook advertising. So that is no longer the case, right? And now we focus a lot on Google advertising, Snapchat advertising. We have done TikTok advertising as well, but major focus is on Facebook and Google, because having a multi-channel approach, at least on the paid marketing front. And if we talk about retention, email, SMS, and all of those things come into the picture as well. So from a platform standpoint, Facebook and Google together are much more powerful now. It is almost impossible to scale things without each other, right? The next segment is going to be about amping up your analytics game, right? Knowing your number is winning half of the battle. So from that, determine what KPIs matter most to your business and measure them regularly. So as we discussed here, you have to maintain a kind of and this is something we do internally. We maintain a KPI sheet for all of our clients. So this is something that I recommend for you as well. Make sure you know what KPIs matter to your business, right? And it's not always just conversions. As I said, along with ROAS, the blended ROAS, also called BROAS, is something that we look at. Initiate checkout, the cost, value, rate, and funnel drops, right? Add to cart. When I say funnel drops, I mean how many people came to add to cart and just dropped out from there, right? Who initiated checkout but did not convert. They just dropped out. You have to know the drop off on every part of the funnel, right? People who added to cart, what was the cost, what was the value of the cart, what was the rate at which add to cart happens, and the funnel drops, right? All of this needs to be calculated only if it is important for your business, right? Landing page views, for a lot of businesses, that is a metric that they always look at. It depends on the niche, obviously. But SCTRs, total unique outbound email subscription rate, you must know at what cost your email rates are getting, emailers are getting, into your list, so that you can optimize it. LTV calculated on a monthly basis, right? So this is just a general list. This is going to be shared with you, obviously, but you must know what numbers you need to be looking at the end of the day. And this is something that we always look at for our clients as well. As I said, we religiously are number-driven people, so we always are looking at the kind of numbers we are doing on an overall front for our clients. So if we see in a week that cost per add to carts increased, we start investigating what the issue could be. Could it be a product-related issue, or could it be a website-related? What we mean by ROAS? No, not break-even ROAS. As I mentioned, that is blended ROAS. Blended ROAS is basically, I'll just put the formula: total revenue divided by total spends. So this is revenue including what you do organically, what you do through ads, what you do through emailers, all of the Shopify backend revenue divided by the total spends, right? It is different from your actual ROAS of your advertising. But since, as I said, right now it is very difficult to calculate those things, blended return on ad spend is something which is very much a good North Star metric to look at, right? Right. Now, this is, I think, the most important part of this session, and which is upping your ad creative game and creating ads that convert. This is it. This is this is the most important part of the overall session, right? And in the post iOS world, as we have mentioned, testing new ad formats and ad creatives is all that matters. So gone are the days when you can just rely on a couple of ads, a couple of videos that you got from AliExpress and just run them, right? You have to test out multiple ad creatives and find the right ones, find the right brand tone, so that it attaches to your customers, it connects with your customers, so that they can get on the funnel and purchase from you, right? It takes a lot of time, it takes a lot of effort. So starting off, there are two things which are important in this game, right? Reverse psychology. on what makes people purchase, which is customer-driven reverse psychology, what you should do, to create something which others have created. Let me give you an example. You see an ad by Nike, which has gotten a good amount of engagement and sales. Try to reverse engineer on that ad itself what elements worked, right? That is how you up your own creatives as well, by taking inspiration and breaking down what others are doing right, not rebuilding the wheel, but just finding a wheel which works and just optimizing. So that's the first thing you need to learn, right? To investigate others, what others are doing, take inspiration from them and make it yours. And second is direct response marketing, which is very much important. How to use the right words to target the right people, to make the right conversations happen and make the conversions just fly off, right? So this is my approach. This is my team's approach. This is what we have done for 70 plus brands. And this is what we essentially, that which drives the first 2 weeks of Brandslane's overall process. Like this is what the first 2 weeks of Brandslane is all about. First thing is intense competitor research, right? We look at direct and indirect industries which a brand, which your brand, can be having in terms of competition. So let's suppose you run a you run a fitness company, right? You run a fitness nutrition company or something like that. So your direct competition is other brands which are selling the same product, right? But your customer right now is a person who is looking for a health product. They're just not always looking for fitness supplements, right? They're looking for health related or fitness related products. So your indirect competition essentially becomes brands which are selling gym socks, brands which are selling gym equipment, brands which are selling gym clothes, brands which are selling running socks, running shoes, skipping ropes, all of those things, right? Stands to matter because a person has, let's say, on their fitness, they have this month $100 to spend. And there are so many products in that paradigm. Which one can they spend it on? All of them are relevant to him, right? So that is why you have to not just look at your direct competition, that what what a Gymshark is doing if you are in the fitness industry. You have also got to look at what other industries are doing, which could be indirect competitors for you. So that's the first thing we look at. We look at an overall picture on what is being done for our target customer in other industries and how we can take inspiration from those. So second one part is ad copy research, realigning the tone of the brand communication as per the customer. This is something we do for all of our clients. If we see that on the ads that are being produced, there is a disalignment between customers and the ads, we try to level it up as much as possible by presenting the overall brand document to the client team, their creative team, right? And lastly, fitting these ideas into the creative types, which are going to be discussed later, right? Now I'm going to discuss a lot of creative types, basically, and it's going to be very intense. So yeah, basically the third part is how to put all of this research and create a good enough ad creative from this. Whew. Okay, I need some water. You can just go through this list in the next 10 seconds. These are the kind of ad creatives which brands run. And this is not, I think, not even the entire list. These are the ones that I know of, which we have done with our clients. I'm going to quickly go through all of these. But if you replicate this for your brand or for your clients, what you are going to get is a very powerful marketing mix. You are going to get ad creatives which are unparalleled in the industry. We have done it with a lot of clients. We have done it with Bummer. We have done it with OCT shoes. We have done it with Gehna jewelries. For all of our clients, me and my team have helped realign their ad creatives, right? And they have generated crores from those creative assets itself. So without any further ado, we are going to start off. The first category is USP driven ad creatives here. And I'll be very quick since this will be shared with you guys after the session. You can go through this yourself as well. But here, you focus upon the brand or the product's USP, right? As you can see on cuts, they are looking the way they are putting out what the brand is all about. It's about breathable clothing. It's about having elongated hem, wide crew neck. So this is something which is going to get people to know about what the product and or the brand is all about. Whether its unique selling point and discover your perfect cut built for all day comfort. This is what the brand is all about. right? Again, this is from a jewelry brand. As you can see, very clearly putting out what the product is all about, right? And putting out the pricing as well. This is an interesting one with personalized gifts. Essentially, if you look at this as an ad, it is all about getting your name on your earrings, right? This is a very solid product sold like gold, right? And this is all USP driven ads, because this is its unique selling point, right? Product driven ads, you focus entirely on the product. This is for Power Cutter brand we worked with once, and this is for another client of ours, White Willow, and focus entirely on the product, right? Nothing else. What the product helps you achieve, a wedge pillow for any purpose, and what its USPs are. So very solid product driven creatives, right? This is for Pummer. And this carousel ad itself generated like humongous amounts of revenue and sales, right? I'm seeing some. Okay, I'll get to the questions once I'm done with this. Right after the creative session, we'll have all the questions. Sorry. So yeah, product-driven creatives. Here again, we are focusing on the product, and we are telling why the product is different from any other Andy in the industry, right? From it's from the buttonhole, from the work from home feeling that is had, loose and comfortable, all of those things, right? Variety driven creatives. Here the focus is on the brand's variety, right? It's as you can see, from a customer perspective or yourself, if you go to McDonald's, if they were just selling one burger, you would not eat, because there's a huge amount of menu there, right? So how to bring that out, that we are a brand which has a ton of products for any occasion. This is the way that you do it. You see how seamlessly this I think this was post-fold. Yep, that is how they did it, right? This is another brand that we worked with. I think it was Smugglers, and this is how they essentially put out what their product line is all about in terms of variety, right? And the idea here is to establish that the brand has a lot of products. Same principles being put out here. This wasn't from Toastmith, just a very simple, not even, it's a slideshow video, right? But hugely effective and getting your attention as well. Customer review driven creatives, very powerful in any kind of industry and very easy to make as well. As you can see, just a product image and the testimonials or the reviews of the product, right? Yeah, this I guess you can check out later, but yeah, solid videos, just putting out what the product is all about. Now, what you will see in most of these review videos, they have a very common flow. You get your attention, they say something relevant to you, they tell you a little bit about the product, and then they sell you on the offer, right? That is the usual flow that they all have. And here the thing is, like you can see, the woman is speaking, and then there is a cut in the middle, and at the bottom they're also showing the product. This is hugely effective. We tested out this entire format for Ghana as well, right? PR driven creatives, right? Now people don't usually do this, but if your brand is something that has gotten like a PR done from, let's say, New York Times or Your Story in India or any other PR outlet, you can use that to establish authority on the top of the funnel cold customer. Suppose you see this ad, the only shirt worth wearing, that is something GQ is saying, right? Imagine the kind of impact it is going to have, right? If you are following the industry, GQ, is a fashion blog, and that is going to drive a huge amount of interest in you, right? So PR review driven creatives are massively strong, right? UGC driven creatives, now everybody is always crazy about user generated content when it comes to advertising. It is massively impactful, and it has to be done tastefully as well, right? So this is it always doesn't have to be a video. Like this is a user generated not an image, right? And all it is about is just putting out what the brand is about. This work very well on middle of the funnel, right? Very simple. As you can see, just pulling the the mobile up and up and close to the product, and just putting out the offer. Same here, just an image, but giving out the offer in a very strong way. People have always gravitated towards user generated content on the advertising front, so this is massively impactful, right? GIF driven creative, they always generate good amount of interest, I would say, or good CTRs at least, right? And all that you have to do is put in a little amount of motion, right? So as you can see, up till now, you have learned of 8 new ways of advertising your product rather than just showing your product, right? Here you have very masterfully, very cleanly, they have put the review, they have put the stars, and they have also generated your interest with this little motion on your screen and a solid offer, which is a 30% off to be used today, right? Now, this is a very strong ad. Problem solution driven creative, just this is something done in almost every industry. Just pull out the problem that you want to solve, right? This was for an Adderall brand that we were working with. We put out these examples for them to replicate. Need overall health and wellness support. Bam. Stop stress before it starts. So somebody who is having high blood pressure, this is something which is a good copy, right? So if you are having that angle in your product, good enough, go for it. This always works. This works very well in the skincare industry as well. Just starting off with the problem that you want to solve. Don't let dehydration cause premature aging. That is a problem which a lot of people face at a specific time of their life, right? Bold claim driven creatives. You have to drive authority, just put out a statement that we are the best at what we do, right? Our customers are damn happy, 100% customer satisfaction, right? And you must be having data to back it up. That is a given. But yeah, my hair is healthy again, no more hair falls. Now that's a bold statement, right? For a woman to say that she has no more hair fall, that is a bold statement. My health is healthy again, no more dark spots. That is a bold statement, right? Now, this is the key of getting scale, which is sale ads. You have to be very clear about what you are selling, right? What the offer is about, and just put it out there. And when we say offer, we don't always mean discount. We also mean offering, as I showed in the creative before, for the underwear brand Bummer, about the Valentine's Day offer. It doesn't always have to be a discount. It can be anything, but it has to be communicated strongly, right? Very minimal. Just put out the product. Just put out the product category you have a discount on, and the code, and that's it. Very strong. Last chance. That's it. Strong 20% off. Simple. Now, this is a solid creative. The motion gets my attention. Here, the shirt gets my attention. Here, the design itself is getting my attention. This is by Zimrat, right? Another example of some skincare brands that are doing the same thing, just putting out all the data that this is a sisterhood sale, 50% off, use this code, right? If just as an additive, if your brand has a specific theme, you can use different angles which are related to your product or your brand to create sales like this. Like sisterhood sale, I don't think that is there's any day like sisterhood day. If there is, I don't know, because it's not that popular. But since this brand has that target demographic, they can do that. We worked with a brand once which was in the gym, in the loungewear category, and they had a lot of licenses with Warner Brothers. So on 18th of September last year, we had Batman Day, right? We celebrated a week long of just selling Batman related apparel that the website had, and the sales were improved by, I think, 80% because of that sale itself, right? So you have to put out your offer and offering in your creative very directly and put out what you are selling. This is my favorite. We got into this when we were working with our client, Bombay Sweet Shop. So this is our client that we've been working with. And we got into this mode about 8 months back itself. And right. So the idea here is talk to your customer directly. That's what a conversation-driven creative is. So McDonald's has been doing it. Salary credited. I have a crush on you. Mexican aloo tikki. Right. So this is our ad that can run at the end of the month during the payday time when the salary of an ideal customer of theirs is credited. The perfect gift for her. Just targeting, somebody who is a married person or having a girlfriend. Just targeting them with this ad that the perfect gift for her. Conversation-driven. This is a perfect ad for a couple that has just gotten pregnant or who are expecting or who are just new parents, right? Congratulations, good news, right? So these are conversation driven creators. These are directly talking to the customer, right? And I think they have had very impactful ROAS on all of our creative mix. So these were just some of the examples of the kind of creatives you can have right, for your brand. Now I'm going to go a little bit deeper into the the Facebook ad strategies, but before that, I'm going to take a breather. Any questions that you guys have on the creative part? Any questions? Feel free to put it in the chat. Thank you. What are your favorite type, let's say top 3 to always test? Very good question, actually. Though I can never be emotionally invested in any of the ads, I think my favorite would always be product USP related ads. I always focus on, right? And apart from that, let me look at the list. So USP driven ad is something I always look at. Review creatives are something that I always focus on at middle of the funnel and bottom of the funnel for retargeting purposes and getting them forward. And offer driven creatives is something which I always look at. And fourth one would be problem solution driven creatives, which because they always generate results. Any other questions? There were a couple of questions above as well. Do you tell the clients how your creative should be, or they do it? So we provide a creative framework to all of our clients and to their creative team. We essentially train their ad creative teams in a sense that we teach them direct response marketing. For TOF, which type of creative should be used? So for top of the funnel, I just have an idea that the customer has no idea about your brand, right? So you cannot start off with gloating. You cannot start off with just putting out that, yeah, we are the we are the best at what we do. You have to start off slow, right? You have to tell them if they are interested in the product. So a problem hook statement that can get them in, a problem solution driven creative, a lifestyle creative if you are an apparel brand, if you're skincare, a problem creative, right? Something like that, I would say. But yeah, always keep in mind that the target customer has no idea about you right now, so they have to be incentivized. So an offer creative is also very good. If you put out a right offer, right, something like, let's say, a huge discount or some that is going to just get people the right target demographic interested. Let's say that Valentine's Day thing was a very good way of getting cold customer into the funnel, right? For people who are in a relationship and have no idea about you, just telling them that, hey man, you can get a free trip all across India if you buy from us. That's a good incentive for them to buy. So those kind of creatives. Second question: when you run conversion versus when not to? I don't see any influencer users see any reason. Any other questions? Cool. So I'll move forward. Cool. So I'll be moving forward. So how to structure your Facebook ads? Testing plus stabilizing plus scaling. So there are 3 important and different aspects. This is a very wide topic, obviously, and there is no way that I can put it in one diagram, right? This is just a structure which we presented to a recent client of ours, and that was so relevant to this session that I put it here, right? But the idea here is something that you will resonate with. When we talk about testing campaigns, we have to test out multiple things, right? So you must know what kind of audiences you want to test out. So the first asset can be all about testing out the broad audiences, and this is what we call a standard sandbox campaign, right? Sandbox, why? Because a child is literally playing with all the assets that they have. So creative A, whatever creatives we have based on the amount of creative requirements we share based on the audit we do. Suppose we have 3 creatives, one carousel, single image, and a video. We test them out on broad, and we have to know what we are testing for. Are we testing creatives? Are we testing copy? Are we testing landing pages? Based on that, we are going to make the variations. So here, the landing pages and the copy are the same. It's the creative that we are wanting to find out what are the winner creative, right? Same thing being done an asset, different assets for different audiences, right? So this is stacked audience interest. You can actually not even stack it. You can test out individual interest audiences as well, right? That would be like audience B, ad set B, you are testing out interest 1, interest 2, interest, just to figure out what kind of interests are working well. Out of 10 interests, if 2 works, you can scale things up by stacking them in the future, right? And also doing the same for lookalike audiences. Either you can test out stacked if you have the budget, or you can just test out single lookalike audiences as well. I have not seen lookalike audiences to be working a lot, but yeah, that is a part of the testing out structure, right? Once we have answer from this, that what audience work with what creative, we are going to move towards the stabilizing part, which is putting the entire structure on a higher budget and just stabilizing or finding a stable ROAS, right? So whatever winners you had from this, let's say creative A won the overall campaign. Let's say for specific set of interests, I saw that creative A was giving me the best results. So I'm going to put that winner creative and a couple of iterations of the same creative. So let's say if for one, I got good results for a post with a person wearing a t-shirt, the same image with an offer, or the same image with a different copy or a different color. I can test out multiple iterations of the same creative. I can and just test out on a stabilizing campaign, just to on a higher budget, just to see if it is working well on the same audiences which won the overall testing, right? And your goal here is to find a stable ROAS. You don't have to scale up. You just have to, let's say, if here I am testing for 500 rupees a day, I have to put this on 1500 rupees a day and see if it is getting me a huge ROAS drop, or can I stabilize it, right? And up to what degree? And slowly and gradually scaling it up. So once the stabilizing campaigns are all sorted up, all you have to do is just on the right creative, which are already set up, and on the right audiences, which are already set up, you just have to increase the money. That is all the scaling is all about, right? Cool. So this is more or less scaling, but I must warn you before you do anything, scaling is very contextual. So if your testing is done well and you know what all things you have tested out and what all things are going to work for your brand, then only start on increasing the budget, right? You have to figure out everything during the testing period, what creative work, what landing pages work, what product categories work, based on your conversation with the client. Figure out what the best sellers are and test those out separately. Figure out what works for the brand in the first month itself. Test out as many variables as you can. And once you find what works, put a lot of money on it. Right? Now we are going to go at the different route, which is Google Ads. Right? Now this is provided to me directly by my Google Ads media buyer. So I come from essentially a Facebook ads background, and I have been doing Google for the last 2 years as an agency as well. So I take it very much as someone who has literally learned it this morning itself. But if you have any questions on Google, I'll be putting my LinkedIn and my email address. You can literally send those emails and your questions to me, right? That this is going to be essentially the Google Ads setup that Brandslane has on a baseline value that we use for all of our clients, right? Just to start off, if any of you does not have a baseline on what Google Ads is all about, right? There are a lot of variations and a lot of Google Ads campaigns in the that can be run. Starting off with search campaign, which is, as the name suggests, you are bidding on specific keywords. That's what search campaigns are. Display campaign, all the display banners that you see on YouTube or on partner websites from Google, which have affiliate and which are approved by AdSense. All the banners that you see, those are display ads being run by Google, right? What it does is, for a search campaign or a search related brand, it is a very solid way of adding a brand visual, right? Which is not always possible on Google Ads. So very good for retargeting. For if you have a massive traffic coming from Facebook, we usually retarget them with a lot of offer-driven ads on display ads, right? Third one is discovery campaigns, which is basically based on the affinity and interest. The discovery campaign go for people who are waiting to buy your product, right? So it is very much personalized, and as you see that people are ready to discover and engage with your brand. So it is very intent driven, right? And shopping campaigns, essentially, it is like a catalog ad being run on Facebook. As you go and search for anything, there is a shopping feed on Google, which you can just go on, and a lot of shopping ads are going to pop up, right? So this is a pretty basic, I would say. The catalog feed is literally fetching from your connected to your merchant center, fetching from your website. So whatever feed you have on your website is getting extracted and then showing on the Google feed, right? Video campaigns, pretty basic. You have all seen it on YouTube. And the darling of the bunch, which is Performance Max, which is essentially a very new ad product, which was not there about a year back, I remember. And the focus here is on finding out what the best performing assets of the brand is and maximizing the performance of the campaign, right? So this is, I think this campaign itself makes or breaks the entire game these days. It is that powerful and that automated, right? And it goes to every part of the funnel, from YouTube, display, search. It spreads out its ad assets, whatever you put into Performance Max, it spread out in every part of Google to find out what works best and scales accordingly, right? So if you do it right, and if you do it in a more efficient and effective way, you build out a very good, solid Google Ads OS. So this is essentially the structure that we follow for any brand that we onboard for Google Ads, right? So phase one, which is the first week, it is all about optimizations. Whatever has worked for the brand, we try to up the results on just those assets. So that would be essentially implementing negative keyword, adding and pausing a couple of keywords, changing match types, right? Restructuring the feed and the shopping campaign, structuring it in a different way, right? Improving the prospecting and retargeting campaign. That's what the first week is all about. The second week is about new launches, as you'll see in the coming few sections where I'll go deeper into it. We focus heavily on discovery campaign, shopping campaign, YouTube campaigns as well if required, if the niche is profitable in that, standardizing the bidding structure, all of those things, right? And once the second week is gone, we have a good idea about what works and what doesn't work, and the first 14 days are done. I think that is when we focus more heavily on the display ads campaign and the Performance Max campaign, and setting up more retargeting on the funnel. As you can see here, as I go forward, I won't go through the entire thing because that is what this thing is all about, but this is what works. Because this will be shared with you, you will be having all of it. But we start off the process with a brand search campaign. Brand search campaign is if you are running a brand, let's say you are running Colgate, right? Running ads on that brand keyword and also running ads on Pepsodent as a keyword, right? So that you also get customers or bid for those people who are searching for your competitor, but also definitely acquire those people who are searching for you on Google. So that's brand search. Doesn't take a lot of money. Very baseline, very basic. This is the first campaign which we always launch. Hardly a day's, hardly a half an hour's work. And dynamic search ads is something that we start off on the second, along with the brand search. Whenever we are starting off, it basically picks up the relevant keywords and relevant feed from your website and all the content from your website. And it's whatever is best for the brand. That is what dynamic search ads do. So DSA ads are very much, I think, the baseline which we start off with for any client on day one, right? It just picks up whatever is the best from the website and pulls it out. I remember there was a website that we did it on and they had no content because of some technical glitch they were doing. So the ads did not even run. So there are limitations to that when stuff like that happens. There was some technical glitch. But as you can see, dynamic search ad headlines and landing pages are generated using the content from the website, which keeps your ads very relevant and on point, right? So this is the first day thing that we do, right? Responsive search ad is what we look at on day 14, which is basically once the first 2 days, first 2 weeks are done, right? And also discovery campaign, as discussed, very powerful in getting the right intent people into the funnel, because they're very intent based, right? So it doesn't always work, but if it does, it can become your evergreen campaign. And there you can go through it, I think, when I share the sheet, but there are creative and audience level requirements for a dynamic, for the discovery campaigns to work. And last but not the least, the Performance Max, as I said, massively powerful, a must for a scalable Google Ads strategy, right? So you can go through this entire thing, and I think Performance Max, if you figure this funnel out for Google Ads, it's going to be of massive importance to you. So, key takeaways for you. I'm going to end the session and just start off with the Q&A. But for you, as an e-commerce founder or as an agency owner, the most important thing and the takeaways from this session. Number one is that hiring and team building is the key, right? So obviously, listening to a 1 hour long session is not going to make you a master of e-commerce, right? But what it will give you is setting up better hiring standards and better KPIs for all of the future hires you have in your marketing team. Now you have a better framework on what works in 2022 from a creative standpoint. So when you are hiring a creative director, this is what you share with them, that this is the direction I want for my brand. This is the approach I want. When you are hiring a solid media buyer or a marketing manager who is looking at these numbers, you give them the metrics and the numbers that you want to focus upon as an e-commerce brand. So that's the first thing which I would love you to have a takeaway from all of this. Even if you recollect this and look at the recording later on, or just look at this presentation later on. Right. Second thing is to remember that your core focus needs to be on product development, fundraising, and hiring, right? As a founder. So once you start delegating to your team and setting up a better standard, your e-commerce business itself is going to scale up much quicker, right? So that I have seen time and time again between solopreneurs and people who are having small teams as compared to people who are having lean but efficient team. Have the right hires and right delegation systems and more passionate people into your team with the right KPIs for their performance, right? And lastly, a paradigm shift on how you approach creatives, right? A lot of people, when you talk to them, when we talk about ad creatives, they have very vague understanding on what works, right? If you look at this entire session, the ad creative that I have given you an idea about, because in the end, it's a creative field. Advertising has always been about creatives from the days of David Ogilvy to today. It has all been about creatives. It's a creative field of art, right? A creative field of science, I would say, right? But in the end of the day, this has opened up a whole new framework of how ad creatives work, right? And this is just like 10 to 20% of ad creators that I gave you out, right? There's a huge repository of ad creatives that we are always looking at, from competitors, direct, indirect industries, all of those things, right? Because that's what we do. So more or less, these are the 3 takeaways I would love for you to have from this. And based on this roadmap, you can optimize your marketing spend on assets that build up your results. So that would be it. I'm up for questions now. I think Peter is having his hand raised. Yes, Peter, you can chat up, I guess. It should be create different campaigns for different categories. Yes, that really helps. If your categories are very diverse, let's say if you are running a brand which sells t-shirts, shoes, hoodies, these are having different customer behavior, I would say. So test out different campaigns just for those. Don't mix them together all the time. You can test out together as well, but ideally I would say have different campaigns. What type of lookalike audiences do you use in the initial phase of testing? Depends on the strategy, but ideally it is a 1% to 3%, 4% lookalike audience. It depends on the budget. So lookalikes, because there are so many options that you can create in lookalikes, it comes down to your ad budget. If you have a good amount of testing budget, I can test out as many lookalikes as you can, buddy. But yeah, since at times brands have a limitation on the advertising spend, that yeah, we cannot spend above 20,000 or 50,000 a day, you have to make sure that you are optimizing the testing budget in the right categories. So ideally, I stop with 1% of all events. Can you use conversion objective for cold audience even with the brand new pixel? Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. Always start off with a conversion event. That is if you do not want to start, if you want to get more people into the funnel, and you know, if the purchases are not happening, try for a lower optimized event. Let's say run ads, conversion ads for add to carts, and then retarget those people who add to cart, right? So that again has worked very well for us. We have done that. How do I learn more about Facebook ads after going through this webinar? I'm not 100% sure. What I was doing on FB was pre-iOS strategy. Start with conversation ad, conversion ad, just sell. Sources where I can learn from. You can, I believe, work in an agency. That is how I started off, to be very honest. But yeah, I think the best way to learn is working on accounts. So that is what has helped me a lot. So just keep on getting more and more clients and delegate as much of it as you can, because that is what I do. I set up a team of expert media buyers who are passionate about it, and I just keep them refined, keep them giving those guys courses. So that is how we do it. If we spend $20,000 a day, do we get more back? More back as in your returns, I would say. That's what you're asking. So it depends, Heather, on your overall strategy. So if you're strategically placed the entire funnel and spending 20,000 a day, you first of all must know your economics. To break even on that $20,000 spend, how much should you make? What is your manufacturing cost and your cost of goods sold and all of those spends and your delivery charges and everything? How much do you want to make by spending $20,000 to break even? That is going to be the metric that you have to always measure, right? So you don't need to start up at 20,000 a day on day one itself. You can start up with a restrained budget and just figure out what are your economics looking like, how much revenue you are able to do on a daily basis, and then project upwards, right? That is what my assessment is going to be. In any case, if you want to connect with me and have a deeper discussion on this, I would love to definitely have a call with you. Daily ad budget for learning stage or say 50 conversions. I didn't get the question. So it's very contextual. It doesn't depend. I can't say without looking at an ad account how much budget is going to be required, right? Just test out, start off with like 1,000, 2,000 rupees a day, and then you will figure out for Facebook, what is the minimum ad spend we need to allocate for ads? For a lot of these questions, by the way, the answer is going to be, and that is a very funny thing in marketing itself, it depends, right? So it depends on what your goal is, but a minimum ad spend, I always tell people to at least spend 2,000 to 3,000 rupees a day to at least get some kind of understanding on their ads. When I'll just give you a context on that. We onboard only those clients which are spending a minimum of 2 lakh INR a month, which is roughly $1,500 to $2,000. Above that, I believe $2,500. Yeah. So a minimum of $2,500 as an advertising spend if they have. That is when we in INR. That is when we onboard, right, on a minimum. Whatever founder has 1 to 2 lakh budget. So yeah, if you are starting off with a 1 to 2 lakh budget, start off with a 3,000 rupees to 5,000 rupees per day spend. It can work. How to create meta pixel in? I think that's better off as a YouTube Google or a Google search than me telling you how to create a meta pixel. How do you divide budget according to the ad platform? Roughly depends on the experience and depending on the niche. You divide your budget. So I place more of a focus on Google, Facebook as compared to Google if it's, let's say, a fashion related brand, right? Now, let's say if I am working on a baby care brand, which has more of a search intent audience, then I'll focus, let's say, 50% on Google and 50% on Facebook. So it's very contextual. Depending on the niche, depending on their previous history. So since we are working with a lot of big brands, they have a lot of advertising history. So if I see that Google has worked well for them and Facebook has not, obviously I'm not going to spend more on Facebook. So those things also come into play. But ideally, I spend 60 to 70% on Facebook and the rest 40 to 30% on Google. That is what my usual gist is, right? Can you offer me a job though? I'm serious. That's awkward. But I don't know anything about you, so I don't know how to set up Metapixel. Again, Google search it. Would you like to connect with you? Any number? I have given my LinkedIn up there. You can just text me there or connect with me or follow me up. I worked in an agency but got stuck for 10 clients single-handedly and couldn't learn but just run ads. But hey, this session helped a lot, so I am in the right direction. Appreciate it, man. I'm glad that you had some kind of value addition from this. Do we need to follow the Facebook rule of 50 conversions a week for this? Yeah, so it gets out of the learning curve, a learning phase only after it goes beyond that 50 conversions a week thing, which is 7 sales a day. But I have never seen it as a problem. I've never seen it reduce my conversion rates and all. So it doesn't really matter, to be very honest and very frank with you. I've been doing this for 3 years and I've never seen the learning limited thing to have impacted my sales numbers. Clients get very pissed off by seeing that, to be honest. You gave me a lot of clarity. Thank you so much. And thank you for the organizers. Yeah. Appreciate it. Is CRO part of your strategy, like fixing the funnel? Do you want to only work on that since Absolutely, absolutely. So though we do not provide it as a service, we have a very consultative approach with all of our clients. So if we have any kind of understanding or the any kind of improvement that we have as recommendations on CRO front, we put that up, right? We change this, improve that, do this, do that, and just see how the impact is going to be on the overall front. So yeah, more or less that. Yeah, we do that as a consultative approach. Can you share some good Google Ads courses? Bharat Soni, I think I recognize you. Yeah, so there's one that I always I use it for my team's training as well. That's where my media guys have we trained from. It is a course by Charlie Brandt. What is the best detailed target advance for my website and my apps? Again, very contextual question. I can't really answer that. Cool. I think I'm done. I think the questions are good. Thank you very much. Have a good day. Cheers. And if anything is required, just email me. I'll just put in my email here, guys. hello@brandslane.co. That is our email address. Feel free to email me or ऊपर आपके I have put my LinkedIn as well. I'll put it again. If you want to follow me up, you can do that there. Cool. Have a great day.